How's it going, Don? Thanks for doing this. You kind of look at the stats, and Arkansas is a team that likes to use its speed, get up and down the floor, and score in bunches. Do you think that your team will be capable of slowing them down, or kind of matching them, and how you guys can use your speed to get up and down the floor and score a bunch?
Um, yes, I mean Arkansas likes to get up and down. They like to score, probably with the least amount of dribbles. They take the first available shot. Um, defensively, we do have to match up with them and try to limit the amount of 3-point attempts that they shoot, because the more they take, the more they'll make, and that could doom us because we don't score. We don't score from the 3-point line a whole lot. But we got Henny. Henny can push that ball down the floor. We are encouraging our wing players to run with her, to create some options for her and them to shoot open shots, and then our bigs are running the floor as well. So it if it's a game in which both teams are pushing the ball at each other. I like our stamina. I like where we are. I think it'll benefit us. But surely we're going to have to slow them down some and not allow them to play at the breaking speed that they play.
Rick and then Mike. Rick, you're on mute.
Here he comes.
Hey, yeah, could hardly hear you there, Diana. Hello, Don. How are you?
Hey, Rick.
Hey, couple of questions for you. You got a game coming up on Monday with two top 20 teams, and in the pre-pandemic era, you'd have just tons of fans, very electric atmosphere. As a head coach, how much do you miss that atmosphere that you've created over the years, especially for the big games? And also, what do you think of Aja's statue now that it's up?
We miss it tremendously. Now we kind of know what other teams feel like, and not having a lot of people in the gym. But we've played 10 games and we've adjusted. It took a little while for us to do that. I think our ability to push the ball really allows us to create the energy that we're missing in the gym from our fans. Although they're irreplaceable. So we've adjusted. And then, Aja Wilson is much deserving of a statue. What she was able to do in her career here and what she continues to do outside of the University of South Carolina, but representing us in our state, in our city. So it's only fitting, to give her flowers while she can smell them in the form of a statue.
Mike and then Greg.
Don, I was talking to a couple high school coaches, and I know, we're seeing this with Frank's team. We're seeing it just across the country in terms of just COVID and throwing off routines. What did you learn just as a coach last week that can help you guys, if God forbid this situation does occur at some point, and just not knowing, there's so many unknowns this season, and how much do you think something like that can help a team just with all the unknowns that still could lie ahead for your team and just any team this season?
Well, I think, you have to, we tell our players all the time, when you're faced with some adversity, that's when your habits are shown, like they show up. Whatever habits you have, if you're a hothead and, you react a certain way, that's what it's going to be, chaos. But if don't get too high with the highs or low with the lows, and you're maintaining, and you almost expect it's going to happen. Whatever team that thinks that is never going to happen to them, and it's going to happen to them, whether they're the positive or if they're the negative, it's going to impact your program at some point. So for us, we have, great medical staff that, once that happened, it was the first time during the season. So we just activated, we got on the phone, we communicated. And I know if it ever happened again, it'll be smooth, although it was very, very smooth going through that process. And And, I'm glad we got a positive, negative result.
Greg and then David.
Dawn, you talk about the effects of COVID. I've seen a couple teams around the country bring in 2021 players a semester early just to kind of, bolster up their numbers in case of COVID, tests. Was that something you ever considered with your class?
We did. We were like one or two classes too short. I mean, one or two classes for them, too short to do it. But I mean, it is what it is. I think our players are really doing a really good job at just hunkering down and to make sure that we decrease our chances of contracting COVID. I mean, you don't know, but I think there are things that you can do to decrease it. And I think our players are adhering to those protocols.
And then just looking at Arkansas last year, Aaliyah especially was able to just kind of dominate inside. They're not really the biggest team. I think even Mike Neighbors would tell you that. How much of the game plan this year is just to let her kind of feast inside and pound it into her?
I mean, that's our strength. Our post play is our strength. We want to feed her. We want her to rebound the basketball. But we also know that we have to, we have to make their guards play. If they're able to just play offense and we let them off the hook by, not applying a little bit pressure on our offensive side of the ball, I think we lose. If you trade threes for twos in a game like this, it'll end up hurting you. So, we gotta try to find a way to get to their bench and make them play defense or, make them give us uncontested shots.
David?
Dawn, is everybody good, healthy, ready to go for the game Monday?
Everybody's healthy. Everybody's healthy today. Who knows what will happen tomorrow? But today we all practiced, and it was good to have our practice guys back, back in the gym, and they picked up where they left off before the break.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all. Y'all be safe. Good to
Thanks,
see
All
you.
right, thanks, Coach.
See you Monday.
Good to see you, Rick. We were praying hard for you.
Hey, I appreciate it, Don, because those prayers were heard and they were answered. I'm doing great, and it meant so much to me and my family. So thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you all.